This is Maruti Suzuki's all-new Swift. Don't buy it. I'm bluffing. Or am I? Actually, the reason for caution is our very own expectations. The first gen Swift showed us that we could have something that was fun but comfortable, peppy but practical, good looking and kind of good for the family. And when we jump to the third generation Swift, we are expecting all of that and for the car to hit the bullseye. Can the Swift deliver on all of that? We have to get a few key questions answered. Would the Swift make for a better family car? What if it was the only one for the family? Does it feel more modern and with it on the inside? Are there any deal breakers that you should know about? And yeah, of course, is this fun to drive? Is it as much fun as the first gen or kind of watered down like the second gen? Well, the short answer is yes, it is properly fun. If you fell in love with the first gen Swift for its chuckable nature, you are going to love this. The Swift has really impressed us with how well it just turns into a corner, feels so pointy, and at the same time it feels very confident. Most hatchbacks when pushed this hard would understeer. This just keeps a nice clean line. Yes, the tire sizes might be the same as the outgoing Swift, but there is a new suspension which has a sporty setup. And this is then connected to the new hardtech platform, which makes the Swift wider than before and also gives it a longer wheelbase. But the overall length has been reduced by 10 millimeters, and overall that gives it a very strong footprint. Which is why when you're going through corners, running at high speeds or while braking hard, the Swift feels very composed. So if you were looking for a fun-to-drive hatch, the Swift would definitely tick the box. But there is one small issue. To make the Swift light and easy to steer in the city, the steering weight has been tweaked. The dampener is the steering. When you start turning in, there really isn't much feel from it. So it leaves you guessing. But once you learn to trust the chassis, you can look past that and just commit to corners. Since we are on this topic, what about performance? This might be a bit of a downer for some people, but the Swift carries forward the tried and tested 1.3-litre diesel engine and the 2.2-litre petrol engine. Both of these are the familiar 4-cylinder engines and there is no increase in power or torque here. Maruti claims that the new Swifts are about 10% faster from 0 to 100. We can't verify those claims right now, but that won't make sense because the new car is about 80 kilograms lighter than the outgoing car. The performance from this petrol engine isn't scintillating, but we know that when you rev this engine, you can have a lot of fun with it. The best part though is that you get that peppiness without compromising on the responsiveness required for everyday driving. What helps its case is the automated manual transmission, which is also offered in the Ignis and Dzire, but it has its own character here in the Swift. Now the way the AMD is configured is different from the Ignis and the Dzire. It actually sits in between. The Ignis is very snappy and prompt, and the Dzire is kind of laid back and meant to just cruise along. The balance that you get here is that you get smooth, almost imperceptible shifts most times, and at the same time, it can be fun when you put your foot down. If I had to make a wish for the Swift, it would be a sport mode for the AMD transmission, which would shift down more frequently, quickly when you lifted off your throttle or when you went on the brakes. But then, if you really want to drive, even now you can just shift into manual mode and take control. It works just fine. Smooth and snappy. There's no head nod here. So if you're looking for a good city commuter, this Swift petrol automatic would do the trick. Also, the claimed fuel efficiency is a solid 22 kilometers per litre. We also drove the DDIS 190 diesel, and while it is available with an automatic, we drove it with the manual gearbox. Now with the diesel, it seems like the engine feels a bit more muted now. Surely the new platform and more sound deadening helps over there. But it is altogether familiar with that solid rush of torque kicking in just under 2000 RPM. As before, you find that low-speed drivability is decent, not particularly peppy, but it can go through traffic easily. And at the same time, when you rev it up, you've got lots of punch on offer. Is it a more practical family car now? Yes, finally boot space has improved from 204 litres to 268, which means it's more than its chief rival. And well, you will be able to pack in a fair bit here, but keep in mind that you will have to pick up the bags a fair bit to get them in here. The geeky translation of that is the loading lip is high. There are benefits of this new platform on the inside too. The longer wheelbase means you have more knee room here, so you can actually get a tall occupant to sit here in comfort. And that's not all. You also find that the cabin feels more airier because the glass area is bigger. But sitting 3 abreast for adults, well, make sure that's only for shorter distances. In the front, the upright A-pillars make the cabin feel big. Well, Maruti says that there's more shoulder room on offer here, and it does feel more spacious. And that is also down to the fact that the dash top now is flatter, lower, so you also get a better view out from the cabin. We'll do some nitpicking now. The passengers at the rear do not get aircon vents, and the bottle holder at the rear is small, and the one at the front is also quite tight. So while it isn't much better for knickknacks, but passengers and luggage will be happier aboard the new Swift. Does it feel more with it on the inside? If you like black, the new Swift will work for you. Well, it certainly feels snug and sporty on the inside. This flat bottom steering wheel is a nice touch, and even the center console is tilted 5 degrees towards the driver. The grey accent panels and the chrome rings look discreet and also make the cabin feel richer. In terms of materials, no soft touch plastics here, but the textures used, the materials feel solid, looks more premium because of that, and these aircon controls are really quite funky. The Z variants get a fully automatic air conditioner, an engine start-stop button, steering wheel mounted controls for audio and telephony, and reverse parking sensors. But it's only the top-end Z Plus variant that gets all the goodies, like a reversing camera and touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity. And no, we aren't forgetting about safety. Dual airbags and ABS are standard across the range, as are ISOFIX seat mounts. Also, Maruti confirms that the Swift will be compliant with the crash test norms that will come into force from 2019. Yes, the Swift is lighter than before, but please understand that weight in isolation doesn't tell you how safe a car is. And just to give you an example, the Indian Swift is actually heavier than the European spec car. Does that mean this is safer? Are there any deal breakers that you should know about? Well, the one thing is the suspension is set up a bit on the firmer side. And on most occasions, it just feels like a Euro car. Going over broken tarmac or over bumpy surfaces, you'll find that it just feels a bit firm but well controlled. But every now and then when you hit that sharp bump, it does thunk through. Our other grouse is about the variants on offer. The Swift, it's available in 4 variants, the usual L, V, Z and now Z Plus variants. Along with this, you get the AMT transmission on 2 variants, which is the V and the Z. So once again, if you are plumbing for the top spec version with the LED headlamps, LED DRLs, the reversing camera, you can't have an AMT. Then there is this door handle. It's funky, but it's awkward. You have to lift your hand up high and it might sound like I'm whining, but imagine having your hands full with bags. Yeah, it's not going to be most convenient in that scenario. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about its looks. Well, the design is a bit of a mishmash. From different angles, the Swift reminded us of different cars. If you thought of something, let us know in the comments below. And overall, it isn't wow, but it isn't off-putting either. The Z Plus gets projector headlamps and LED DRLs, while the LED tail lamps are available across the range. Also, we felt that the machine-cut alloys on the Z Plus variant looked a bit tacky, while the alloys on the Z variant looked better. So does the Swift hit the bullseye on all fronts? We said it was going to be tough, and yes, it does miss out on a few fronts. The design, for instance, it is unique, but it doesn't quite tug at your heartstrings. And when you get inside, yes, it feels more upmarket, it has the features that you'd want, but still the wow factor is a bit muted here. And then there's the ride quality. If you're looking for a pure commuter in the city, this is going to be a bit firm for you. And that's where the Swift's character comes in. Maruti has really given it a character. This feels young at heart, like a Swift should. And that's because of the way it steers. It's pointy and lots of fun. Sure, if you wanted a lot more space for your entire family, for that you'd have to stretch for the Baleno, but this is definitely better for the occupants and the luggage as well. And on top of it, the engines, you could say that these are all too familiar and might seem a bit boring, but they strike that beautiful balance between being fun and sensible. So the new Swift from Maruti Suzuki definitely strikes that very sweet balance that you're looking for from a Swift. We don't have the prices right now, but when launched, expect this new Swift to come at a bit of a premium over the existing model. And still, it's a car that holds the Swift DNA in fine hands.